Okay, then. I'd say it's probably a little too loud because it's on right on top of me. How's that? Is that better? Check, check. Oh, me. So today's setup's going to be very different, everyone. Welcome in. Glad to see everybody today. We're going to be doing some actual cooking and not just making sushi. So I've got the camera here. We're going to have it on 2 different places. I am going to have to pick it up and move it. So I guess one of our stream goals is going to be to get a couple of extension cables and another camera so that I could set it up properly. And another camera stand. But for today, we'll do with what we got. I am completely blind almost to the screen. I can see that there's blue and white text on there, but I can't read it. So I'm going to have to go back and forth between 2 tables to be able to read it. As we progress and we start doing more, I may have to make up a nice little cart of some kind with everything hooked up to it so I can move it around. Might be a good idea. So how is everybody today? Are we ready to try out something requested by our friend I Fired today? We're going to be having Chilaquiles and Pozole Verde. Normally, Pozole Verde is made with pork. However, I'm already adding too much salt to these dishes, and I want them to be a little bit more hearty, so I'm going to use chicken. Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. A little worn out, a little tired, but I'm ready to go. I'm actually looking forward to these little stream sessions now. I want to do it. I got a ginger beer here today. First time I've ever had it. It definitely burns your throat. Hey, Tiger Fang, welcome in, welcome in. We haven't gotten started yet. We're just kind of doing our little preamble. Sitting back here, getting ready. I'm gonna try to do as much as possible from scratch. I'm not gonna pre-prep anything in these streams as much as possible. So today we're going to be starting off with the chilaquiles, and one of the things we're going to do is we're going to actually make our own tortilla chips, which normally a lot of people just cheat and they just go buy some and then cook them. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it right, and we're going to do them in little batches, and I'm just going to keep going back and forth until we get them all done. Then we're going to put those into the frying pan and make the chilaquiles. And I think for today we'll actually go ahead and include the fried eggs with it as well. And hello, Tiger Fang. Hello, hello, hello. I'm and welcome in. I Fired as well. I can barely see anything on the screen over there, so the screen's about 8-10 feet from me. So we will be doing this, but I'll just have to keep checking back and forth as we're going. All right. Well, I think we're almost ready. So today, for the chilaquiles, there are different types of chilaquiles. And those types generally revolve around two basic sauces, which are verde and rojo. Rojo is made with tomatoes, and verde is made with tomatillos. Tomatoes, of course, are very, very cheap, and you can get them everywhere, and you can get lots of them. However, tomatillos are more expensive. Today, I had to go to 3 different stores to find some. I had to buy all they had at one store, which was only about a pound. And then I had to buy another pound of them at another store 20 minutes later. Boy, this stuff hits. Let me check the screen here. Hey, Naudalero! Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I was just letting everybody know that I can't see the screen very well. So, as we go today, I'm just going to be going back and forth to the screen. And yeah, it looks like we've got another storm getting ready to creep up around here as well. It's getting darker in here as we go. I may have to change the lighting. I've already had to turn on 2 lights in here that I didn't intend to turn on. Let's go ahead and switch out, shall we? And I'd also like to thank Guitar Freak and Lioness Cam for the offline follows a couple days ago. So I don't want to forget that. Oh, we're going straight for the new stuff, huh? I have no idea if that actually is working because I have no ears. So if it does not fire, Tobin, if you're here, you can refund them and we'll take care of it when I get to my other computer. So let's stop this music. I don't want it to distract from what we're doing. So, I think it looks pretty good. I think we can see fairly well. Let me get these out of the way. So it's not quite as shiny. I don't know if anybody's ever had this stuff before, but this is what I'm having today. It's Fever Tree Ginger Beer. It literally tastes like raw ginger. It's pretty strong. Okay. I had fixed it, but yes, it is. I have queso fresco for this. That's what we're going to serve with. We're going to go all the way to the serving stage before I switch to doing the other dish. We'll do them one at a time, and we're going to do them all in order. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually make our tortilla chips for the first phase here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up a pan of oil, and we're going to fry our tortillas here. But we're going to cut them up into chip shapes first. So I'm going to start up our oven here and put it around 4 to 4.5. Our goal here is to get the temperature up to between 350 and 400 and not go over that. Much over 400 and it starts to smoke, and we don't want that in here. So while we're doing that and getting that warmed up, we're going to go ahead and start cutting up our tortillas. So all we're going to do is just slice them into eighths, just like this. Nothing big, it's just going to make chips. I'm using small little generic brand ones, taco style, I believe, from a local grocery store here. We're going to make about 12 or 13 of these for this recipe. Now, as I've been doing in the past, I've been posting all the recipes. I will continue doing that, and I will be taking pictures and things like that as we go. So we're gonna get these all chopped up. There's two. Let's get a bowl for that, shall we? Slide that over. There's two. Here comes number three. Now, these normally are actually done several different ways, as I had mentioned, and today we're going to do them in kind of a more traditional fashion, where they're going to be a little bit soft. They're going to be kind of squishy when you make them, because we're going to fry the chips, and then we're going to move those over to a frying pan, and we're going to add all of the other stuff to it. But first, we got to make these, and we've got to make our salsa here. That was three, I think. This is going to be quite a bit. I did the calculations for the recipe a little while ago. It's going to take about 13 of these. All right, here we go. These are corn tortillas. They are not flour. Don't do this with flour tortillas. That's going to taste weird if you do that. Fresher ones would be better, but I don't really have the option to do that right now. You watch your fingers with the knives. I almost got myself right there. And I'm going to have to move the camera already because I made a mistake. And we move back. Okay. I forgot to get the our temperature gun out. I do like using these when I'm cooking, especially when I'm frying things. That oil is going to make a lot of noise because it's picked up a lot of moisture. I used that oil last week when we were doing the panko. I just filtered it, cleaned it, and put it back in the pan. I think that was number 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I'm going to cut these up. Then we're going to get the rest of our ingredients out of the fridge and put them on the table here and get our picture. Instead of doing that in one at a time, I'm going to try doing 3 at a time here and see how that goes. Looks like that's going to work. One thing I have mentioned in the past is about these knives. You have to be very careful using them, but you also need to make sure that they're very sharp. Oh yeah, that one. I'm going to turn all of this into chips. Need about 3 more. I'll make it 4 just to be safe. Nothing wrong with having a little extra. Let's cut these. Most of the ingredients for this aren't too expensive. It's just really, honestly, the tomatillos that have some money attached to them. Because they're about $2.50 a pound around here. They probably aren't that much elsewhere. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and get the rest of our things put together so we can make our picture. What I was putting away there were these cans of white hominy. We're going to be putting this in the soup, not in this, so I'm going to move them out of this picture. We also have cilantro. Today. And we have avocado, and we have jalapeno and serrano. These are serrano peppers. These are not the greatest in the world, but it was all I could find today. These are fairly hot. They're slightly less, they have slightly less heat to them than the habanero peppers. And of course, we've got our regular jalapenos here as well. And believe it or not, in the end here, we're actually going to put some of these on there raw. We're not going to cook them. Let me catch up with Chet here. Welcome into Puzzle Dirt. I cannot see the computer, just so you know. I have to kind of do things on my own here. So let's see, what else have we got for this one? We have got okay, so for the first part of this, we're going to need some garlic, and we're going to need some cumin, and we're going to need to go ahead and cut up some other things too. So let me go ahead and get those ready. What I'm doing, there's so much stuff here. When I'm doing these, I tend to use chopped garlic, pre-chopped garlic. So, you know, some people think it's cheating, but I don't really believe that. So I'm going to use a half a teaspoon for one to be the equivalent of one clove. It's probably a little more than that, but you can never use too much garlic in most things. So we're going to use a little extra here. I'm going to use 2 cloves. It calls for 1.5. And we'll dry this off so we can get our cumin together. Then we'll get our picture and we'll start working on cooking our tomatillos. So we need about a little more than 1/8 of a teaspoon of cumin. Cumin is relatively common for a whole lot of things. Wow, I didn't realize the camera was that far down. It has a good smell to it, and it's good for a lot of dishes. We don't need much, we just need a little bit. So we're going to give it a little bit more than 1/8. There we go. The popping is stopping. It means that it's just about gotten rid of all the moisture in the oil. So the next thing is salt and pepper. I'm going to use sea salt today. And we're not going to use a lot of it because I'm really not supposed to have it. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Sea salt, and I always insist on grinding my own pepper for everything because it tastes much better and it has more of an odor to it than pre-ground pepper does. And right now I'm not measuring this. I'm putting it in here based on how much I know about what we're using it for. And it's always to taste. A lot of the time when you see these recipes, they always say to taste. So if you don't like a lot of pepper, don't use a lot of pepper. If you like more salt, use more salt. It's not that hard. Okay. We are going to use poblano, chicken stock, cilantro, jalapeno, cumin, and white onion for this part of what we're doing today. Serving is usually going to be made with the limes as well. So we got that for that, and we have the purple onion as well, and we have some radishes and poblano pepper as well. Now for this one, it wants a little more than half. I'm going to use about 1/2 of a poblano pepper because I need it for the other dish as well. So we'll do that. Let's get this over here. We'll get these peppers out of this picture because we're not using them for this one. And we're going to use 1 jalapeno. Pull that one out. Get our spices here. Purple onion. And our queso fresco. Here. And we need a couple of eggs. We're going to put 2 eggs on this one and let them cook with it. I'm going to get a couple of those out. also going to be putting a little bit of sour cream on this at the end because it calls for something called Mexican crema, but I don't have that and I can't get it around here. And don't use the bleached eggs. Use the decent ones. Now, yeah. Okay. So the next part of this is that we're actually going to have to cook these tomatillos. We're going to have to boil them until they're mostly cooked so that we can combine everything at the end. In this case, however, we're going to go ahead and get our picture first. This one will be mostly, yeah, I believe this one is mostly vegetarian friendly, but not entirely. I know a lot of the guys at work that do vegetarian don't mind using some of these things. Others will, so, you know, that's up to you. It's up to your taste. It's up to what you want. All right, so we've got our picture. And now we're going to start worrying about getting some of these things ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our tomatillos boiling. So I'm just going to fill up a pot here and we're going to shuck the skins off of them and drop them in here and start boiling them up. As for how long, I'm not entirely sure. We're going to let them cook for about 8 or 10 minutes. Should be enough. Get another swig of the ginger beer here. It tends to clean your throat out. So we'll go ahead and get the tomatillos going. Usually they come with this little skin on them, but don't let the skin fool you because a lot of times they're not in good shape underneath, and they are sticky, by the way. These are very sticky. These are very sticky little tomatoes. I'm going to raise the camera up a little bit so that you all can see what I'm doing a little easier. There we go. I'm going to use about a pound of these. I'm just going to have to kind of estimate it. I don't really know that I'm using a pound, but I got 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds of them today, so over half should be about right. Because our other dish also uses these, and we're going to make a soup base out of it, just like we're going to make a salsa base out of this one. And while I'm doing this, I can check on chat. Hey, welcome in, Pi. Yes, we are doing Saturday cooking streams from now on. I'm going to try to do it almost every week, if not every week. So right now, what we're doing is we're getting our tomatillos ready for making them into salsa, and we are going to get them cooking. Shoot, I found one with a hole in it. Got to check this one to make sure it doesn't have any worms. We don't want that. That's just nasty. We don't want that. Probably was damaged during shipping. Yep, it was just damaged during shipping. I'm going to make sure there's nothing else. We'll cut that right out. Yep, it's nice and clean. We're good. All right. We'll keep going here. Actually, I can tell because the ones that I bought at one store are a little darker than the others. That's interesting. All right, let's move that bowl out of here. And we'll finish getting these skinned. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I know that these streams are going to make you hungry, and I'm not going to apologize for that. That's what I'm here for today. I want everybody to think about doing these kinds of things for themselves because they can eat so much better and eat so much more healthy. Even if you make bad food with a lot of calories to it, it's still generally better than what you get when you go out. I mean, you can make a 2,000 calorie meal soaked in cheese, and that's the equivalent of a Whopper. Which would you rather have? A really good meal soaked in cheese or a Whopper? Me personally, I'm going to go with the home cooking. Not to say that a Whopper is bad, it's just that's too many calories for me and I can't have it. Okay, this one's a little older, but it should be okay. All right. So we got got these ready. We're going to put them on here and let them boil for a while. Our oil is starting to smoke just a little bit, so I'm going to take it off the heat for a minute. Ooh, it's smoking a lot. Uh-oh. Let's drop it down. I like to use a very high temperature oil when we're doing this kind of thing. So in this case, what I have in that pot is actually avocado oil. That's generally pretty good for very high heat applications like frying. Now it says to use about a third of an onion, but I'm going to use a half of an onion, and we'll go from there. Because we're cooking a little bit more than what they're asking for anyway. These are yellow onions. They're Vidalias. They're going to be a little bit sticky, but they're not going to be very, very strong. In this case, I'm just going to cheat it a little bit and skin it after the fact instead of pre-doing it. A little easier this way. Take this extra little flavor off. It's a little dry. There we go. Got a nice yellow white onion here. Get that off. Now, there are a lot of different terms for how much you cut things. In this case, I'm going to dice them up a little bit. I'm no speed cutter, I'm no speed runner, I'm going to just take my time to do it so I don't lose fingers. That's all we need is me cutting a finger while we're on live stream, right? That wouldn't be good. I'm doing a whole onion. I'll use my food processor over there, but we're not doing that much today, so we'll just try to get a nice even cut here as much as possible. That's pretty good. I saw somebody had an almost new grill outside. They apparently got a brand new one, and then they didn't like their old one because it was a little too small, and they put it out fully working with a propane bottle on it and told everybody to take it for free. I wish I had known about it at the time. I would have done that. You see how quick less than half of an onion piles up in volume? You start cutting them up. Don't be fooled. Okay. So we need to boil those tomatillos first before we can do everything else. So we're going to go ahead and finish cutting up everything and getting it ready so that we can mix it in. Let me check on our... Yeah, we're down to about 400 degrees now, so that should be okay. So while that's getting more consistent, we're gonna wash these off and get them cut up. We want our sauce here to be a little bit chunky. We don't want it to be just a smooth blend. That's why we're not going to do that today. We'll use about that much of the pepper. Poblanos here can be anywhere from mild to incredibly hot. Your chances of getting either are about even, so be ready. It may be very spicy. And yes, I'm going to leave the seeds and all in it. I will tell some people, this won't bother me, but I will tell you that some people are sensitive to these peppers and how hot they are. So if that's the case, don't do what I'm doing unless you've got gloves. Because if you start doing that without gloves and you touch your eye or something, you may not like the result. All right, let's check on check. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. In this case, though, I'm gonna actually, I'm not gonna make this incredibly hot today. I normally do for myself, but I'm doing this for everybody else today, so I'm gonna use a little bit more than half of this poblano here, because we need it for the other recipe as well. Now, the poblano, most of the seeds are in the top, so you don't have to worry about dealing with those down here. I'm going to cut this one into strips first. Thin strips. Those tomatillos are taking a while to boil up. You may have to wait a little bit. You may just be having a cooking stream tonight. Which is fine. That was almost an accident. All right, poblano. All right, so we've got our 3 chopped up. Yeah, everything's all sticky. Good. Okay, so while that's still warming up, we're going to go ahead and start working on these tortillas. Need to make sure that I have everything ready for the salsa. Oh, we still need the cilantro and our chicken stock ready. So let's go ahead and do that too. So I'm going to measure out about a cup of our chicken stock, and I have one in the refrigerator that's already open, so I'm going to try that first. I think it's got about a cup in it, so that would be good. I don't have to open another one. If not, well, you know. Yeah, just a little bit more. We'll just use the whole box. And we'll toss that into recycling. Take this off the table. All right. So now we have our chicken stock. And we need to have, it says a third of a bunch. I'm going to call this a bunch. I'm going to call that a third. We're going to rinse that off before we use it, before I start cutting it up. Give me just a second. I don't trust it when the stores put stuff out and say that it's pre-washed. I tend to wash things myself regardless. I'll also tell you this, that if you're buying salad ingredients like lettuces and things like that, one thing you can do to get them to be a little bit fresher is when you get them home, you get them all separated out as much as you can. Put them in a big bowl of water, cold water, not real cold, but just tap cold water for about an hour or so. They'll perk up a little bit, and then you can shake them loose and dry them off a little bit, and they'll last a whole lot longer, and they'll taste a lot fresher because the leaves will still soak up some of the moisture. Here. All right. So there's that. The oil's starting to smoke again, so let's go ahead and drop a few of those in there and start getting those ready. I've never cooked actual tortilla chips before, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take. I doubt that it's going to take much more than a minute or so. So I'm going to go ahead and put them right here as I do this so you can see it. We're going to have to cook these, obviously cook these in batches, a lot of batches, because there's a lot of those chips. Yep, they're already ready. And I've already dropped one. That's going to be good. There we go. Yep, they're nice and crispy. Just like we want them. We're just going to put them in here like this so that they can drain. Oh, this oil is very clean for this. That's good. So it looks like they only need to cook for just a few seconds. I don't think we really need that. Let's just do that. How's chat doing? Oh, After's in. Yay! Hey, After, how we doing? We've got all of our green ingredients ready. We're working on the chips right now. Pretty soon I'm going to switch over to the other, once I start cooking these, I'm going to switch over to the other station. How are you doing today, After? I know you've been doing a lot of work. Moment, we're just going to set this back up here. I'll do cleanup afterwards. Nobody needs to watch me do that. All right, get our spices ready. With the number of chips we got to make, this is going to take a little while. A little longer than I expected. That's all right. We've got time, right? So our oil temperature is down to about 380. So this is about perfect to cook them a little slower. We don't want to cook anything too fast. That's how you burn stuff. You can see how when they cool off, they start turning darker. That's why it's difficult to fry things sometimes. You have to pull them out before you think they're ready. Might have to add a little more oil to this. It's going to soak it up. That's fine. Our tomatillos are almost boiling now, so we're going to let them simmer for a little while. Let's try this and see how it looks when they cool off. They do feel crispy. Our temperature's down a little bit, so we'll keep going. We've still got a lot of these. And I'm using a small pot too, so it's going to take a little while to get them cooked. I really don't want to pour a ton of hot oil in there. Well, you know, I'll eat that whole red onion. Radishes, yeah. And you know, not people do dumb things even though they're smart. It happens. I've done it more than once myself. Let's get another one of these ginger beers out, shall we? Getting a little warm in here. Everything boiling. Well, it can cook a little bit longer. I think it's probably okay now, even though I've still got to cut up a few more things. It's probably okay for me to go ahead and move the camera over so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that. So everybody, get ready to get seasick. I can't get too good of a perspective here because of the distance. But we'll try. Yes, I have a very old stove. But it works. There we go. I think we can see what's going on. Now I gotta work to not bash myself or knock the camera over. This will be interesting. I will also mention that these chips are going to go into a frying pan, so we're going to end up cooking them a little bit longer as well. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit because it's getting a little cool. We're right at 350, so I want to try to bring it up a little. Tomatillos are starting to change color, so that's good. That means that they'll be almost done here soon. It's climbing about a degree every 2 seconds or so, so we're going to let it heat up for another minute or so before I drop more in there. How's chat doing? Well, good. I'm glad that I'm doing it the right way then. I've honestly never made either of these dishes before. Almost everything that I've cooked and put onto the Discord, that was the very first time that I did it. Very few of them I've repeated as well. So I cook things and I go from there. So some of these things I will be redoing for everybody when we start running out of recipes, which is probably going to be pretty soon. So you guys will start seeing me cooking some of the things you're already familiar with. or may be familiar with. There we go. That's pretty good. Got a good boil going there. Looks like our tomatillos are almost ready. I'm gonna wait until they kind of turn a lighter green color all the way around. These chips are soaking up this oil. When you dedicate to doing something like this, you got to look at your costs too. Some of those are going to be expensive. You all can see the entire stove from that angle. That's very strange to me. It doesn't look like the parallax is correct, but I guess it is. I think I'm going to have to add a little more heat. I turned it down before, but I think I need to turn it up. Let's get our other things over here. Got our onion and our jalapeno. We've got our cilantro, peppers. All right, so about these things here, we're not actually going to cook them first. We've got the tomatillos cooking down because we're going to turn those into salsa, but we're also going to mix all of those other ingredients that I just put on the side there directly into my blender here in a few minutes and turn that into the salsa. Our chips are looking pretty good. Being that these are white tortilla chips, they're going to be fairly light in color. I'm sure that when a lot of people do this, they use the yellow ones, but I didn't see any yellow ones on the shelf, so I had to use white ones today. Won't make much difference. Definitely won't change the taste. We'll keep cooking those. I'm going to move this over here. As far as kitchen utility tools kind of things go, I really don't like single purpose things. The exception I could probably allow for myself personally would be a rice cooker. A lot of people need those, and they do serve their purpose. You can see here that our chips look pretty good. I don't know why I keep moving the pot over to the table when I could just put that there. Now, while that is cooking, I can be over here by the microphone. I'm going to get our final serving things ready too. And for this, we're going to use the radishes and the purple onion and the cheese and sour cream for that. Those are going to be put on after the fact. And we'll see how that goes. I hope everybody's enjoying these streams. Now, this is only our second one, but I really hope to make this a regular thing so that we can have them all the time. Because I do like cooking. It's just I only can do it on Saturday and Sunday. During the week is very hard since I work so much. And I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, I'm doing great on stream, I can quit my job. No, I can't do that. So don't everybody go crazy or anything. It's not a good idea, especially if you have a decent job. Well, a lot of people don't, and the streaming actually does do better, but in my case, it won't. So the radishes are now ready. And we'll work on our onion as well. I'm using up every one of them today. And we need a couple slices of the lime. Let's check on our chips here. Oh, okay. Let them sit a little too long. These are going to be a little darker. That's all right. They're going to be soaked in tomatillo sauce here in a few minutes. And those are now ready. I'm going to say those are ready. Those are a little dark. Might not use those. You can always make more. There we go. All right, so you can see our tomatillos have turned kind of a olive green color. So we're going to say that those are done. And I'm going to start adding them over here to our blender. As I was saying before about the single-use items, the blender and the food processor are really the only two things that I have. And those are not really single-use items. I use them for everything. That's still quite hot. Now when I run the blender on these, I'm going to turn them into kind of a, I am going to turn them into salsa. It's not going to be smooth. Get these out of here. All right. That is done. So here. Today I am going to be using the stainless steel for our final product, because I've already talked about them a dozen times. I'm going to use one of my black iron pans for the final product. Right now it looks like I should have done this part first, huh? Or used a bigger pan. We're only about halfway through those. Okay. So let's see. I wasn't planning on this, but let's see if we can see the blender, shall we? Well, we can, but it's a mile away. So we're going to put we've got our tomatillos in here. We're going to add the onion. We're going to add our spices. We'll mix them up a little bit first. Drop those in there. We're going to drop our garlic in. We're going to drop our cilantro. And our hot pepper number 1. And our hot pepper number 2. Also going to add our chicken stock. This blender doesn't work very well without liquid. And in this case, I actually have a chopped salsa setting, so we're going to use that. It will stop on its own, so I don't have to watch it. There it goes. And now we have our tomatillo salsa. This is going to be used. This is the verde part of the salsa verde. So we're going to use this here in a few minutes when we bring out our pan. We're going to fry the chips with this in it. Where did my pan go? Oh, that is the pan. Okay. Needed to make sure which one I had because one of them hasn't been used yet. And it needs to be seasoned a little more. I don't want to use that one. Okay, it's this one. Good. So we'll put our black iron here. I really can't see what's going on over there. I hope you all are okay. Did that camera freeze? The camera froze, didn't it? Ah. Hey, Ketchy. Welcome in, welcome in. Let me restart the camera. It does this occasionally. Sorry. There we go. I don't know why it does that, but I've seen it do that a few times while I was doing other things. Just pull that right back over here. How are you doing today, Ketchy? I'm kind of blind to the camera, so I'll check in a minute here. I see there's a lot going on over there. We're still frying our chips here. We still got about half of them to go, too. That's the thing. I'm going to try dropping more in there at once. That'll make it go faster. We want our chips crispy. And we want them in the pan. Now, after we get these in there, we're going to pour that tomatillo sauce in there, and we're going to heat it up and let it cook for a minute or two. And then we'll get our eggs in there and let them cook. In the meantime, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to cut up some rings for the onion here. Purple onions are really good for a lot of cooking. I know people say that those are salad onions, but the fact is that a whole lot of dishes use them. And honestly, I like them better for a lot of things. You always make curry with them. At least Indian curry. I don't know about Japanese curry because I haven't made any yet. But my understanding is that it's a little bit bland. But we don't know. We'll try at some point. I personally like everything nice and spicy. But not every time, not every dish. Today we are going spicy. Okay. Onion has been skinned. Now I'm cutting up some rings. Better check on those chips. Yep. A little bit longer. They are already crispy though. Let's go ahead and pull them out. Still dark enough. This seems like too many to me, but we'll see. This is one time I might actually want a little fryer deal, fryer pot or a grandpappy or whatever it's called. Might need one of those. How's that for a strange thought? I need cooking implements for a stream. The stream for this type of community. I love it. All right. Get our purple onion ready. And actually, we're going to need the purple onion for the other dish too. That's why I picked these two dishes today. So the soup uses a lot of this stuff as serving as well. More ginger beer. Some sour cream and queso fresco. I hate the way they package this cheese. Queso fresco is a little difficult to keep in the fridge. It's very soft. With it vacuum sealed, it makes it hard to open. Good golly. There we go. In this case, we're going to crumble it as best we can. Yeah, those chips look good. A little bit longer. They're still a little wimpy. Shrimping. Oh, okay. Guacamole. Portugués. No se habla portugués. Hablo español solamente. Nope, not doing that. Grip for a second. This is going to be a much bigger dish than I thought it was going to be. If I continue cooking, I'm going to cook one more batch of these chips and I'm going to stop. It's just too many. The whole pan's full. All right. You can cheat. You can go buy already made chips, but it's really not the same. Yeah, they do. They lighten up as they get a little darker as they rest. You can see here that they're turning a little more yellow as they sit. But I should have used yellow corn tortillas, but I couldn't find any, as I had mentioned at the beginning of the stream. You really just want to get them to where they're starting to be crispy. You don't want them dark. Oh. We are making a mess today. Where'd the ginger beer? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm betting that stuff's really good for stomach aches too. A little bit longer. Yeah, you can, but I agree with you. It's not a good way to do it, and it won't be the same. And cheap places do that. I know they do. They don't really care. I'm just kind of crumbling up the cheese now. I'm just breaking it up a little bit as I go. I'm running out of bowls and things. We may have a problem on the second dish. I used too much for this first one. We may have to endure a little bit of cleanup. This cheese does crumble quite easily. All right, our chips should be ready. Yep, they're crispy. So we're going to stop here with this. Careful with that. Fingers in it. I think that's more than enough. Get that off. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start heating this up now. Actually, I want this to stay warm. I'm going to use it here in a minute. A little bit of olive oil here. So the next part of what I'm doing here is I'm going to do two things simultaneously. We're going to start heating this up. And it's going to take a minute with this frying pan because this frying pan is very thick and very heavy. We're going to go ahead and pour this in. And what this is going to end up doing is it's going to end up softening those chips a little bit. So that is how it's made. This is the traditional method right here. Since iFired suggested this one, he's out of the running for the next dish for a little while, but anybody else that has an idea or something that they'd like to see me make, even if I've already done it once, as long as it's nothing really horribly expensive, I'll be glad to do it. I'm a little bit on the less prone to doing lobster meals right now because of the price. I did, however, buy some codfish, so if you've got something in mind for that, I can make that. Chili Max, fish tacos. Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. And yes, after I've burnt myself enough to know not how to do that. So they cool off extremely fast when you pick them out of the oil. I just don't want to get my finger too close to the oil, because that's how you get in trouble. Okay. It's starting to bubble a little bit on the outside edges. I know you can't really see it, but we want that to heat up a little bit. There we go. Let's simmer a little bit. Now this other pan over here that I started working on, which is now nice and shiny, that's what they mean when the oil's shimmering. You can see it. This is for our eggs. We're going to use an egg on our final product. I'm not going to cook it in here. I just destroyed it. Try not to hit the camera. I guess this fried egg is not going to be entirely fried correctly. Oh well. That happens to me constantly, so I'm not worried about it. And that one decided to leave a piece of the shell on it. This angle's a little weird to work with today. Be crunchy. Okay, so we're going to let that cook for a little while we're checking chat. That only needs to cook for about 5 minutes, and we're fairly close to 3 or 4 by now already. So we're almost done with that. And I'm just rinsing out everything because we're going to need it here in a minute for the next dish. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I'm just trying to talk a little bit loud, but I want to be sure you can hear me. Yeah, I know. You're right after. I usually just crack them on whatever I've got my hands on at the time. I'm not exactly the most adept with eggs. You're the baker, not me. I think we can go ahead and transfer those over. And our final product will be ready here in just a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up an avocado here. This is the leftover one from our sushi run the other day. So this one will be very soft. Oh yeah, it's way too soft. Come on, open up. Yeah, it came apart on me. Actually, it's pretty much no good. I guess we're going to have to pass on it. Oh well. I didn't know if it was going to last a week or not. All I was going to do was put 3 slices on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and get our lime ready. Listen to me, I'm sitting here trying to call it limon. There we go. Then we'll bring our camera over here and then we'll get that picture and start another one. It looks like it's about ready. So let me get our camera here and bring it back over to the table. Get ready for being seasick again. And it froze. Ah, camera. What you doing to me, bud? I have no idea why this thing stopped. It only stops for this. It doesn't stop for anything else. So we're going to make our serving now. As best we can. Oh my gosh, that's heavy. me do it the other way. We'll bring this back over here. So there is our initial final. We're going to add our cheese, a bit of onion, a couple of radishes on the edge. And those are actually really for the other dish, but they work for both. So. I don't have, as I mentioned, I don't have the crema. So we're going to use this. A little bit of that right there. And then our lime on the edge here. And there we go. We have our first dish done. Chilaquiles. Traditional. Eventually I'll get it right. And of course we would have a couple of slices of avocado, but unfortunately it did not survive. It didn't survive the week. So we will get our picture here. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. Not much, just a little. Where our pepper grinder went, I don't know. And of course, I haven't had hardly anything to eat today, so I'm going to taste it while I'm talking to chat. I've never had this before. All right, let's see here. Does the Isaac dance? So the cake mix is a crime against you. Okay. Not sure. Oh. Let me catch up here. I've tried breaking eggs on the countertop, and a lot of times I end up smashing them, and they end up getting on the counter. So I try not to do that, but you're right. After is a baker, yes. He makes cakes and cookies and sugary confectionery treats. I bet the beast again with a poly. Oh, okay. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So I'm giving this our first taste test to see how it goes. I've made enough for all of you? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Please keep you at home. I'm sensible. I can make homemade pastas. Okay. Well, that's good pie. Oh, your sister knows how to cook? Okay. That's good. Now I'm teaching you all how to cook. So the verdict on this one is I've never had it before, and it's actually quite good. It's a little bit different with the soft chips. You taught yourself how to cook when you were 11? Had a lot of hard lessons? Yeah, that happens. So at this point, normally, I'd pop out and we'd go do something else. But today's a double feature. Even though I've messed up everything, we're gonna clean as we go here in a minute. Hey, Catchy, welcome back. Good point, it's not just. So this recipe will be available in Discord today or tomorrow. So you can see that it was fairly easy. We didn't have to do a whole lot to get it done. Now, we're going to work on our soup. So we're going to be using, oh gosh, what a mess. We're going to be using more tomatillos. We're going to be using up another big box of chicken stock. And this one is going to be a soup, so it's going to be a lot of liquid involved, obviously. I'm hoping that this is enough. It may not be, but we'll start with that. Turn that back that way. Well, I gotta take a picture, so. We're gonna need 2 cups of water and chicken breast, which I bought today, so we have fresh. So this is going to be pozole rojo, or sorry, pozole verde. This is going to be basically the same thing. We're going to be using cilantro, tomatillos, and our peppers. We're also going to serve this with a lot of toppings. It's going to have shredded lettuce, and it's going to have the radishes and all sorts of stuff. So let's start by getting our things together, shall we? So we need a small onion is what it says. I'm going to use the other half of that one and one that I've got in the fridge. I have the one from last week. That ought to be more than enough for a small onion. I don't usually believe that we've ever used too many onions. So we have our tomatillos and our poblanos. We're going to go a bowl of tomatillos. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we have our bowl of tomatillos. And we have our cilantro. And we have our poblanos and our chilies and our radishes. And we've got the serrano peppers this time, as well as our other poblano. Be using all of those. We need garlic again. This time it's calling for 4 of the garlic cloves. So I'm going to use 4 1/2 teaspoons here of garlic. The more garlic, the better. All right. We need a 1/2 cup of cilantro, which we've already got over there. That's fine. We need our hominy this time. Hominy is corn, it's not garbanzo beans. Don't make that substitution. And okay. So the rest of it is all serving stuff. We're going to use Okay, chicken stock and chicken breasts, skin side down. We don't have skin this time. I'm going to get that cleaned up and ready for a picture. Is the color good? Can somebody in the chat give me an idea, because it's getting kind of dim in here because of the storm approaching outside. I'll take a look here in just a second. There's our chicken. Now that I've touched it, I have to be careful and wash my hands. Don't mix meat with vegetables, especially if you're doing the vegetables for serving and not for cooking. You don't want cross contamination. That'll make you very sick. Especially since we tend to use chlorinated chicken sometimes. I'm hoping this isn't, but I'm going to rinse it off anyway when I go to use it. They generally do that to keep it from going bad faster. Now this particular recipe is calling for me to use the big iron pot, so I'm going to actually do that. I have one. I'm going to use this bad boy. Our Lodge pot. Big cast iron one, weighs a ton. I'm going to start warming it up just a little bit. Now, what else have we got for this today? I think that's all we need. So we'll go ahead and get a picture of that, and we'll get started on making this one now. Okay. So our first step actually is to get our cast iron pot here warmed up with the chicken stock and the water to a boil. So we're going to add 2 cups of water and 7 cups of chicken stock. So I may have to do a quick BRB because I might have to go downstairs to get another box of it, because I'm not sure that's actually 7 cups right there. So there's our 2 cups of water. I'm turning the heat up. We're going to crack open this chicken broth and start measuring it. Yep, 2 cups is about half the box. I'll have to go get another one. It's a good thing I keep extra. I always keep extra. So be it known that these small boxes on the grocery store shelves are 4 cups, not 7. All right, everybody, give me just a minute. I'm going to be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. So that means I could just pour the rest of this entire box in here, and that'll be fine. It'll boil out. There we go. Now our first step is to get that boiling and then put the chicken in it and let it cook for a little while. And what we're going to do is we're going to shred it and skim any fat that may be on the top. Now, since I'm using already clean chicken, we're not going to have to deal with that. Now, in our blender, we're going to mix all the other ingredients. So, let me read here for just a second. Okay, I'm gonna need another frying pan for that. And I will have to move the camera over here in a few minutes apparently. So we'll just set this down here. I'm gonna go find where I don't know where it is at the moment. I need a regular frying pan. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So we're gonna make our tomatillo mixture in our blender, and then we're gonna cook it until it starts turning dark green. So when I start doing that, I'll move the camera over. At the moment, we need to move this off of here. And I'm going to clean that with a little bit of bleach here. Because it felt wet when I picked it up. All right. The next part is to make that sauce. What we're going to do is we're going to husk and chop and get everything ready here. I haven't used this for anything other than vegetables, so this is perfectly safe. We've already washed most of these, but I'm going to wash these again. We're going to have a big aftermath for this cooking session today. I hope the next dish isn't going to be quite as messy. Okay, where'd my knife go? So now I'm just going to try to get this core out without making a mess. And I'll come check my chat here in a second. I'm really sorry that I can't see what's going on. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get the monitor over here where I can see. Like I said, I may have to work on getting some kind of mobile desk or something. Or if I can find the money at some point, maybe a laptop that's suitable for running the stream. That might be a thing. I don't know. It's very difficult to do this with a full-size PC, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I've got a full-size PC sitting directly across from me with a bunch of cables hanging off of it. So there's one poblano. We're going to drop that into the blender right now. I'm going to drop this jalapeno in there. Next week we may have a just chatting session where I'm sharpening these knives before we actually cook, because it seems to be getting to be a problem. They're not cutting like they should be. I haven't put too much force in them. I've been using these for over 6 months without sharpening them very much. Just using the little rod thing that comes with them. I'm sure everybody's seen people using these. They only do a very minimal amount of work. Okay, yeah, just making sure that I'm using the right amount. We're going to drop our garlic in. And we're going to drop another jalapeno. This one we are going to blend until it's smooth. Let's see a spot here. So this pepper's got a little bit of damage on it. I couldn't find any really good ones today. So we'll just have to work with what we got. A lot of these recipes call for us to roast these peppers first. I am actually supposed to do that with this one, but I don't really have an easy ability to do that right now. Generally, one way to do that is to put it in the oven. The other way to do it is if you have a gas stove, you can cook them directly over the flame until they get crispy. But today we're just going to have to blend it till it's nice and smooth and skip that step because I don't have a choice. All right, there's our peppers. Now our onion. Then I'll come check chat here in just a sec. Hope everything's okay over there. These streams are definitely attention destroying. Okay. They're not too dull, but I definitely need to sharpen these knives. This particular one smashed a tomato the other day, so that definitely needs to be fixed. When I first got them, I managed to cut my fingers about 5 times. Now I can wing them and it doesn't hurt. I am going to scoop out some of the chicken stock and put it in the blender. We are going to mix it in there anyway. All right. Now the next thing that goes in there is our tomatillos. Okay. And I'm going to add some oregano too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start skinning these. The remainder of our tomatillos for today. Oh, I did say I was going to check chat. Is it too quiet? I'm sorry. Let me, is that better? It's up in the red from what I can see back here. I started concentrating on what I was doing. Yeah, this knife's getting dull. That one's not much better. Ooh, this one is almost too ripe. It says to just quarter them and drop them in the blender, so I'm going to do that. They're still skinning. I keep forgetting that this angle of this camera. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. If you see me, you see me. This time we're not cooking them first. We're going to stew them in the soup directly. We might have used one too many in the other one. Guess we'll see. Now, last time I actually have made this soup before using codfish, and it reminded me today, and that's why I bought another couple of pounds of cod. But we're going to do it with chicken this time. I'm hearing this banging noise outside. I don't know what it is. I hope you all can't hear it. I doubt you can. This microphone's good at, software is good at getting rid of outside ambient noise. All right. There are all of our tomatillos. I'm going to drop those into, I'm not sure I can fit all this in here. My gosh. It's almost completely full. All right. This one doesn't have a lot of spices to it. It's actually just using the natural peppers for the flavor. Oh. Is the mic good now, even when I'm away from it? Oh, fine. Yeah, wait on the Curse of Demon. It's on the other computer. It's not on this one. So the setup is there. The meds are going to be at 9 o'clock, just so you know. Since I'm not going to add too much to this, I'm going to add another pepper. I need one for the final. Because when you're done, you put one of it, you put slices of these in there raw. These peppers do have a bite to them. Cilantro have some strength. Now, cilantro, does that go in there? Yes, it does. Okay, how much cilantro do we need? It doesn't say how much we need. Well, in that case, I'm going to use, let me rinse this. Our just chatting part is about to start here in just a few minutes. Once that starts boiling, we have to put the chicken in, and the chicken's going to take 25 minutes. So we'll have a 20-minute chatting session, so I get a chance to catch up on what's going on there. I'm going to drop this much cilantro in there. I'm going to get a little bit more of the stock out because this sucker is full. This won't take but just a minute or two. All right, here we go with the blender. Everybody cover your ears if you need to. All right. Yes, time for the chilaquiles are done. We did our taste test too. The remainder is right here so you can see it. But I'll have the final picture put into the Discord in a little bit. So what it's doing is it's blending everything. Okay. Let me show you what we've got. What we have is very green. So this is going to go into it when the chicken is done cooking. So we're going to cook the chicken first. And we'll keep this to the side already finished. And when it starts cooking, I'm going to add a little bit of oregano and a few other things. Okay, so it has started boiling. It's going real good now. So we're going to rinse our chicken off and put it in there. What we're going to do is we're going to cook this chicken for about 20 or 25 minutes, and then we're going to shred it as best we can when we get it out of the pot. And then we'll mix everything else and let it cook. So give me just a minute here to get the chicken ready. I want to rinse it off real good, make sure there's no leftover stuff from the packaging. That's one. And I'm working on number two. I know this part isn't going to have a whole lot to look at. I do apologize for that, but I am here with you and I'm on the mic. There's number two. And there's number three. Dispose of the trash here. And clean that. And then I can sit down and talk with everybody for a few minutes. Where'd my towel go? Where'd my towel go? My gosh. Yeah, neon green, that's right. It does. It's a little darker now that it's not foaming quite as much, so it's settling. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook the chicken and shred the chicken. Then we're going to mix in the hominy into the pot and let it cook for a little bit. And then we'll mix in all the green stuff. It's going to be a binary kind of composition. So we're going to put the green stuff into that frying pan, and we're going to mix them at the end. So let me go ahead and move everybody over to the stove again. Oh, here we go. All the way over to the stove. I'm going to try to get you a little closer where you can see everything. I love how it freezes every time I move the camera. That's interesting. I'm wondering if it's because the picture's moving too fast or what. I don't trust the software. The theme for today is definitely green. There we go. So I put the chicken in, and it did cool it down enough that it's having to get back up to boiling. We're going to have it boiling here in just a minute, and then we'll set our timer. And I'll go ahead and get the meat, the hominy in already. We don't use garbanzos for this. Now with canned goods, I don't typically like using canned goods, but with canned goods, I do put them through a wire mesh and strain them and rinse them off real good, especially if they're vegetables. I don't trust what they put in the cans, and I don't like the extra taste and the extra salt either, because they generally put salt in there as a preservative. So the hominy we have is a white hominy, so it won't add any color to the green. I'm rinsing out the first can right now. This is what your white hominy looks like right out of the can. We'll get a second can. This ginger beer is pretty good after, but it is a bit strong. It definitely left kind of a taste behind, and it burns a little bit. We're going to use 3 cans of this hominy in this soup for this mix. I am going to add some oregano to the pot as well, even though it didn't call for it. This is the ASMR part of our stream. Everybody can just listen to the sounds of cooking. If you like, I can yell at a non-existent employee. That chicken's so raw, it's still clucking. All right. All right, our hominy is ready. And let's see, is there anything else we need to do real quick? Okay. We actually can do the other part of it at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and start letting that simmer a little bit too. No, I'm crossing my arms under the camera, I'm sorry. Now that that's boiling, I'm going to get that timer set up. We'll let that run. We'll let that heat up. Let's see how Cat's doing. Okay. Yeah, the theme for today is definitely green. All right. So now I have that. As soon as that heats up, I'm going to let that simmer. Okay, bye. We'll still be on for a little bit longer. And then I'll switch over and we'll find something to go play so we can talk. Unfortunately, I don't have my good headset, so I have no idea how the sound is going to be with that other headset that I've got. It had a little bit of an accident, and it fell off my desk and shattered. Very unfortunate, but it was also very old. They were made probably 10 years ago. Okay, it's starting to boil. That's good. No, I'm not eating the rest of that bowl of food that I had. Okay. We are going to add some salt and pepper to this when we start cooking it as well. You can see that our chicken is already starting to cook, so it's already turning white. So it won't be too long. Our oil is shimmering here. So this is about ready to heat up too. Our timing is actually pretty good because it's about the right amount of time for us to start cooking this part. Heat up just a little bit. And instantly cool it off. I definitely need a couple of bigger pans for this. This is the biggest frying pan that I've got. This is going to be a very big batch of soup from the looks of it. I might have gotten the wrong recipe for this. Might be too much. Okay. Let's see. Oh. So how's everybody doing? It seems like it's been calmed down a little bit. I'm sorry I can't quite keep up with chat the way that this is set up. We're definitely going to have to work on figuring out a better way to set this up. But rather than taking forever to figure it out, I wanted to actually start cooking. It's more important to me that we do it than it is to do it perfectly. I've been promising everybody for over 6 months now that I'm going to do it. Did it just freeze again? I just bumped the camera a little bit. My gosh. What is up with this camera? Yep, I bumped it. Welcome to the ceiling. Oh, there we go. This other one is going to take a few minutes to warm up because I don't have another large burner on my stove. I don't know why that's blue either. I don't know. That light is a compact fluorescent. Let's add a little bit while this is warming up here, it's starting to bubble a little bit. Let's add a little bit of our salt here. Let's break out some pepper here. You can see it's starting to fizzle a little bit. You can see bubbles forming on the top. That's probably going to take a little bit longer to cook than it would normally because of the stove. That's one of the problems I have here, is that it just doesn't cook very fast. I generally have to cook things very slowly. Because of it. One day when I get things renovated, I'll get a new stove too. There's no gas in this area, so I can't do that. But eventually, I'll have something. This. Oh, I didn't even think about that compact fluorescent biasing the colors over here. That ought to be interesting. I have no idea what color it is right now. It should be green. It's kind of a grass green color at the moment. Okay. The serving for this one is very similar to the previous one, but we're not going to put the cheese in it. We're just going to use the radishes and the pepper and some lime, maybe a little bit of shredded lettuce. And one of the peppers. And I have one pepper left, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that up while we're here. But this one, we're going to slice it very, very small, very thin. And I'm going to use a raw one in the final. Now, not everybody will want that, but in this case, I do. The final will be very spicy if you do it that way. I'm trying not to add tremendous amounts of powder to this one. A lot of dishes don't really need it. And I say this as I'm getting ready to drop oregano in it. Sweet. I can't reach it. Let's try not to bang the camera this time. Oregano, where are you? There you are. Okay, good. As you can see, it's starting to bubble a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit of oregano to it so that it can simmer in there. It does want fresh, but I've never found fresh in the grocery store before. This has to simmer for about 15 minutes or so. Sometimes cooking is a waiting game, and that's why they do a lot of editing for videos. I, however, can't do that. We're live. And I'm fine with that. I hope everybody else is. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting the lettuce ready. I'm just going to shred a little bit. I bought a head of iceberg lettuce. Just the same plain lettuce you see every day. One thing I like to do is I like to take off the outer layer and throw it away because I don't trust again. Plus, it's usually dirty. We'll rinse that off, and then we'll shred it while that stuff is simmering. I gotta watch that little one because that little one is set on high, but because there's so much liquid in it, I've got to leave it on high instead of putting it on low for simmering. Oh. Trying not to make a mess here. Okay, now we've got our lettuce ready. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get that chicken out and we're going to start shredding it a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that. It's not a very easy process with forks. No, I have not. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet. I'm sure some of you know, but for those that don't, I generally am working about 50 to 60 hours a week, which is why you don't see me responding to a whole lot of stuff very fast and doing a lot of stuff online all the time. I just can't do it. But I'm trying to do my best, and I want to do my part for the community as well. And this kind of a Skillshare kind of thing is something I don't see a lot of people doing. And I think there's a demand for it. There's a lot of people asking. Plenty of people ask me about various different things and how to cook them. And I'm perfectly glad to do that. Up till now, I've just been making recipes and sending it out. I'm not making it a focal point. All right, we're almost ready. Oh my goodness. The chilaquiles, I'm going to have to eat them pretty quick. It looks like they're going to go pretty soggy pretty fast if I don't. We don't want that. So the soup shall be this week's bounty for dinner and lunch. Okay. So the darker the sauce gets, the more finished it is. All right. So we add the hominy in near the end. We just want it to be heated a little bit so that it doesn't fall apart. As you can see, it's getting darker, so this is almost done. It's getting a kind of a darker green color now. It looks more like a olive color, more or less. So we're going to let this cook for another minute or two, and then we'll turn the heat off. Oh my goodness. So tonight it looks like we're going to have maybe an hour to an hour and a half. So I may just go ahead and run Cuphead. And then later on tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll see what I can do about bringing in that soldier import for you, not. maybe we'll see if we can get a few others involved as well. All right, I'm going to call that. That's dark enough. That is definitely dark enough. That has a nice, rich color to it. So we're going to let that cool down. And we'll get our chicken out here in just a minute. We've got 4 or 5 minutes left on the chicken. And while we're doing that, we'll get the chilaquiles and put them into a container for the fridge. Feels pretty solid now that it's cooled off. This is more of a casserole. This pan is still warm. Even after it's been sitting for almost 45 minutes, it's still warm. Okay, get that cleaned up. Good thing I didn't make any more chips. I don't think we could have handled it. All right, how much time we got on the chicken? 4 more minutes. Okay. Hey, Wheelie, welcome in. We're getting down towards the end of our second dish tonight. We're making pozole rojo, or pozole verde. On the stove right now, we have our binary mixture done. We're getting ready to pull the chicken out and shred it and then put it back in. And we're going to add our final ingredients and get it ready for serving. It's only going to cook another 4 or 5 minutes after I put the chicken back in. And for that, I think we'll use our bowl from earlier, since all it's got in it is a little bit of oil. We're just letting it simmer for a few more minutes. It's getting quite warm in here too. The air conditioner turned on. And it looks like we're about to have a storm. Next week, I think we'll only do one dish. It looks like this might be a little bit too difficult to do 2 at once, especially if one of them takes a little while. So what I'll do is I'll try to figure out a dish that'll probably take about an hour to an hour and a half, and we'll only do one next time. I think we've learned enough about this to know that this is going to take a while. I don't want to overload everybody. Oh, okay, thank you. Let me grab a drink. One more ginger beer for today. Probably going to get cleaned out. All of this. I thought it was a little strange it didn't have a twist off lid. For those that are just showing up, this is what we're having. It has a very strong ginger taste to it. It is non-alcoholic, by the way, for those of you that don't know. What I'm doing in the background here is just cleaning and putting things up in the fridge. Probably best that I do that. I hope all the people that have just shown up recently have been having a good day today. We've just been cooking and hanging out today and just talking a lot. It's been fun. Okay, it sounds like our chicken is done. Let's take a look. As you can see, it's cooking down a little bit. Some of the liquid's coming down. We'll pull that one out. What I'm going to do, actually, is I'm just going to take a knife to it and a fork, and I'm going to cut it up as best I can. Shredding it is a little bit on the difficult side. It's very time-consuming. Normally what you do is you just take two forks with the tines facing away from you, and you just keep cutting through them until you shred it all the way down. I need to find a better way to do that. Actually, I already know a better way to do that. Well, let me check to make sure it's done first. Yep, it's cooked all the way through. So what we're going to do, I've already made a big mess. We'll just make another big mess. I'm going to put it in the food processor. I've done this before. It works pretty well. It just means I got to clean something else. Not a big deal. It's better than cleaning it up. So I'll just cut it into absorbable chunks for the tines. There's the first one. The rest do the second one now. Quite warm in here. Let's do that third one. Now, while that is simmering, we're going to add the hominy while I'm trying to get the shredding done. So there's the hominy. And we're going to add this as well. Take our bowl scraper here. I do recommend using silicone stuff. Don't use wood. Wood was fine 50 years ago. It's not good now. These silicone ones do much better and they don't melt. What we're going to do is we're going to shred our chicken now. Oh, it got stuck. There we go. Yes, that worked perfectly. I'll show you here in a minute as soon as I finish cutting up the other two. me, it looks like perfect shred to me. I'm going to go ahead and toss this back into the pot here while it's getting back up to its simmer. And then we'll shred the other chicken and drop it in there. And we are almost done. Right. There we go. There we go. All right. Put our shredded chicken in. And then we'll keep going. Won't take much longer now. As you can see, it's turned kind of a light green color now. We'll let that sit for a minute. It is warm. I'm going to put this in a different bowl than we did on the last one. I've never used these bowls for this, but they're the ones that I eat out of most of the time. Oh, let's see, what's going on? Oh, hey, Jingle, welcome in. You make some rice? Okay. Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. After I should have just done it with forks, but look how little time it took. I kind of need to conserve time here in this case. Everything's almost ready, so I'll just use the food processor. As I stated earlier, I like having tools that I can use for more than one function. All right, look at that. I'll just let this simmer for a couple of minutes to let those hominy cook through, and then we'll get our serving ready. I'll go ahead and get our table cleaned up for this. And we have got a tremendous amount of aftermath for today's cooking. Very messy. Okay, there it goes. It's starting to simmer. So we will set a 4 minutes to let that simmer, and then we'll start serving, and then we will be done with our cooking. And yeah, after I wasn't originally going to separate the two streams like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the video, and then I'll see if I can figure out how to just split it. I may try to edit it out a little bit to get out some of the cooking time. Because it is a bit long when you do it like this. If I'm going to post these, and I don't know how many people are in right now, but we may take a poll as to whether everybody would like me to split these up and put them onto YouTube as well. And I've already posted the I'll be posting the paperwork, the uh, the recipes and the final pictures and the before pictures as well, of course. All right, that's in the fridge. There's going to be a lot of dishes today. Goodness. Yeah. We don't want this sticking to the bottom, so I'm just going to kind of keep it stirred a little bit. Don't want anything getting burned in. These big iron pots are expensive. You don't want to damage them. We got about 2 minutes. Anybody have any questions so far? I won't do the boar live, no. I did, however, eat the first one while we were making the second one. Those pictures will be up soon. Spray the counter down here. Everybody, please be careful about your food safety. If you're doing vegetables and you're doing meats, you need to be sure that you keep them separated. Cross-contamination will make you very sick. That's why you've already heard me wash my hands about 4 times so far. There's going to be a lot of this soup, which is good because I need it for 5 days. Oh, I'm going to, Jindal. This is my lunch for the week. I might have a little bit of something to salad with it, of course. All right, almost done. Normally, one other thing that you should do is that you should let your food rest after you've cooked it. You should let it sit for a few minutes and let it cool down a little before you start serving. But in the interests of time today, we're going to go ahead and get it ready. All right, there is our alarm. So as far as I'm concerned, it's probably finished. Our chicken, of course, was already finished. So I'm going to shift us back over to our table here so we can see how it goes for our final. Hey, and it didn't freeze up this time. What do you know? Okay. Let's see how our final looks, shall we? Here's how our dish is going to look. Now, for serving, we would have a few other things, but some of them are just not here. So what they recommend is 3 slices of avocado, which I can't do, and then to put the lettuce on top, and then our radishes, and then in my case, I'm going to add a couple of these hot peppers here. A little bit of the onion, kind of making a little salad out of it, of sorts. Our lime. And we will have a little bit of pepper. And of course, you probably will want to add salt to it, but I'm not going to do that. And there we go. We have our pozole verde con pollo, the chicken. Let's get our final picture. And then we'll start moving around for our other stream and see what's going on. It's so dark in here. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over to the other computer and get it ready. And then I will switch streams and we'll be offline for just a minute, so don't let anybody go anywhere. I'll switch over to my headset and we'll pray that the headset sounds okay. And then we can figure out what we're going to do. As it stands, this will end up staying warm for quite a while. So let me go start my other computer. I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, here we go. We are going to switch now. So it shouldn't take me but a minute or two. I am going to have to use the headset again, and I had to use a temporary headset because we had an accident, as I mentioned earlier, and that my other one broke. So I'm going to stop the stream right here, and then restart it in under a minute. So just give me just a minute, okay, everybody?